The new school year is almost here, and for the first time, all students are now able to get vaccinated against COVID-19. That's because the FDA recently approved vaccines for children 6 months old and up. But the choice to actually vaccinate younger kids is a tough one for some parents. And THV 11's Karen Fuller spoke with an Arkansas mother about how she came to her decision.
By the time a child reaches the age of 6, they've been given enough vaccines to prevent 15 illnesses that some took many lives decades ago. Now parents are encouraged to vaccinate their children for COVID.
Have a seat.
Emily Williams is a first-time mom to her son, Emmett. At 18 months old, Emmett can now receive a COVID vaccine. Williams says she's willing to do it only after several conversations with his pediatrician.
It was definitely a discussion that we had with Dr. Lyons. So we trusted him with Emmett's care from the beginning, and with all of our vaccines, he definitely spoke to the safety of them and the protection that they provide for him.
Dr. Josh Lyon isn't just Emmett's pediatrician, he's also a parent himself. He says Williams is doing the right thing by immunizing Emmett against a virus that continues to mutate.
When you look at kind of COVID across this younger population, COVID in this age specifically, this is the most at-risk age for hospitalization across all ages for children.
But it's not just the COVID vaccine. Research from the Journal of the American Medical Association shows a drop-off in many routine child immunizations for diseases like measles and polio. One of the biggest reasons, a number of parents are keeping their children at home, fearing exposure to COVID, skipping regular checkups where vaccines are typically administered. Dr. Lyons says when it comes to the COVID vaccine in particular, it's more than that.
I think most families, it's this idea of the unknown more than anything else. And part of that is the unknown with vaccines, right?
Williams says she has friends who haven't yet made up their minds on the vaccine. We talked about how they think their children already receive a lot of shots between routine immunizations and boosters. Beyond that, some of them aren't too concerned about the side effects of kids contracting COVID.
Some of them their kids have been sick with COVID and they didn't get super sick. They weathered it really well, and so it is hard for some parents to think it's better for them to get a shot than it is for them to just, maybe be down for a day and then bounce back really quickly.
That's only one of the misconceptions, according to former FDA Commissioner Dr. Gottlieb, who's also a board member of vaccine maker Pfizer. On a recent CBS Face the Nation, Dr. Gottlieb said not only can young children get very sick from COVID, now low vaccination rates are making it worse.
More than 1,000 kids have died, about 440 under the age of 4. We've seen, as you said, tens of thousands of hospitalizations in this age segment.
That's why Dr. Lyons says it's so important to educate parents on the safety and efficacy of the vaccine, even if they still choose not to immunize in the end.
I think the hardest thing is every now and then you get a family who you have a conversation with and you think it's a good and meaningful conversation. And they kind of decide that that's not what's right for their family. And rarely, but it does happen, you wind up with those kids who wind up hospitalized, or you wind up with those kids who have a secondary issue.
Overall, he says it's about getting the right information from trusted sources and having those talks, something Dr. Lyon himself had to do.
Even in my household, that had to be a conversation. Despite the fact that I have the knowledge I have, and I've studied these things and I know the vaccine science, but it feels different when it's your kids.
Do you want to read a book while we wait?
Emily says she's comfortable with her choice to vaccinate Emmett. She says the odds are on the side of science, while longer-term effects of COVID are unknown. Besides, she wants Emmett to enjoy spending time with all of the family members who love him as she does.
We knew that he was going to be around grandparents and great-grandparents that are vulnerable, so if not for his protection, then for the people around him.
Both Emily and Dr. Lyons say there's almost too much information out there on social media, and the best way to make a vaccine decision is with your pediatrician who follows the science and has a proven history of caring for your little one. Karen Fuller, THV 11 News.